For my final podcast, I decided to do something a little different. I want to tell you about my favorite movies as a send-off to all the work I've done with this series. My name is Lainey and this is Movie Mania. Going through movie history, my goal is to give you insight in all types of films. Today's topic, The End, my favorite films. Before I go in depth about my top 12 favorite movies, here's a current ranking for numbers 20 through 13. Number 20, East of Eden, released in 1955. Number 19, Citizen Kane, from 1941. Number 18, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, from 2001. Number 17, The Godfather, released in 1972. Number 16, A Hard Day's Night, released in 1964. Number 15, Head, released in 1968. Number 14, Ghostbusters, released in 1984. And number 13, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, from 2005. Now, let's get into my top 12. Both of my parents grew up during the 80s, so of course I had to include some 80s movies on this list. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, released in 1989, is my favorite film from the franchise, for many good reasons. I just really enjoy this film. Another 80s film I had to include is 1985's Back to the Future. The film is probably the most famous time travel film of all time, and for good reason. I've seen this movie many times, but it hasn't gotten old yet. It's a timeless classic that I would recommend to anyone. When I first watched 1944's Arsenic and Old Lace, I wasn't really paying attention. But as soon as they started talking about dead people, I started over and it became one of my favorite films. With its screwball comedy nature and acting, the film makes for an interesting and fun watch. I've probably seen this next film an unhealthy number of times. 1942's Casablanca is one of the most famous romantic movies of all time. With its timeless story set against the backdrop of World War II, the film is beautiful. Whenever I get the chance to quote this movie, I will. It's just that good. The only animated movie on this list is 1968's Yellow Submarine. Based on the music of the Beatles, the film is colorful, and dare I say very trippy, but it's a venture into a wild world. I don't know why, but I love this movie. While 1940's The Philadelphia Story has an all-star cast featuring Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn, and James Stewart, it's also a great comedic film with a dramatic flair. It's a timeless piece of cinema that I would fully recommend. In my opinion, 1958's Vertigo is arguably one of the greatest films ever made. The Alfred Hitchcock thriller features multiple plot twists, fantastic acting, and stunning visuals. Vertigo is a film that I believe everyone should at least watch once, but you might need to watch it at least twice to pick your jaw off the ground and understand what just happened. I'm definitely exaggerating, but you should still watch it. 1950's Harvey is a heartwarming comedic tale that I really enjoy. With great acting and an impactful story, this is a film that I will watch for the rest of my life. I just love it that much. I fell in love with this next film the first time I watched it. 1952's Singin' in the Rain is a perfect movie to me. With the characters, setting, and songs, it's a magical film that I've seen plenty of times. If you know me, you could have already guessed that the original Star Wars trilogy would be my number one pick. I've loved Star Wars since 2016 and it has been my favorite since. My ranking for the films is Empire Strikes Back at number 3, A New Hope at number 2, and Return of the Jedi as my all-time favorite film. Well, that concludes Movie Mania. I hope you enjoyed this series. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me ramble on about movies. I really appreciate it.